Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. During the declared emergency, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. My name is Isaac Laluz and I'll be chairing the hearing. Today, our panel has a new member, Ms. Siskind, who is joining our panel effective today. We'd like to welcome her. I'm sure she'll be an asset to our panel, and welcome to her. The other members on the committee today are Ms. Attarodi, Mr. Bartolo, and Mr. Klassen. City staff will be assisting us throughout the meeting, including moderating the WebEx platform. And today, we have with us here Kelly Reid, Brandon Clapp, and online is the main Dan Antonacci, who is the Deputy Secretary Treasurer of the committee. All these people without them, we cannot function, and we like to thank them. They keep us on our toes. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentation to the committee using the said WebEx. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. These participants will be connecting either by their computer, a phone, a tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered speaker will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you're called on to speak. For all those waiting online to speak, please make sure you call with the telephone number you originally registered with. Calling with a different number, you will not be able to speak. And please make sure not to use the speakerphone function on your telephone. Land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse nations, Inuit and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provision of the zoning bylaw, permission to extend or alter legal non-conforming uses, and consents to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto local appeal body known as TLAB, or, in some limited circumstances, to the local planning appeal tribunal known as LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. The hearing procedure today will be as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. When an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee, and the committee may ask questions and or take the matter directly for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when the 5-minute mark is reached. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer an application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to receive a notice are informed of the changes. Then individuals, either in support or in opposition to the application, will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the chance to address only those issues that raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Now, for some housekeeping, I understand we do not have any minutes to adopt today. Mr. Deputy Secretary, any minutes to adopt today?
None for this meeting.
Thank you. Now, for this session of the morning only, members and staff, any conflict of interest to declare? No? Okay, now we have some deferral requests here. And the first one is item number 6, which is 94 Highland Crescent. Item 6, 94 Highland Crescent. And here we have the agent. Andrew Dean, are you there? Do you know if he's there?
I am.
Okay. Good morning.
Can I hear it?
Could you please state your name and address for the records?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure. My name is Andrew Dean from Richard Wengel Architect. My address is 102 Avenue Road, Toronto, Ontario.
Thank you. As I understand, you're asking for a deferral. I know the reasons, but we need you to state the reason you're requesting deferral.
We've been working with the planning department and trying to accommodate some of their requests. We'd like a little more time to work through the changes with our client and also to approach the neighbors with the revisions that we're going to be asking for.
Thank you. We don't have any other speaker registered here. Members, any question or motion to defer? Mr. Bartolo?
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll put forward a motion to defer this application, sine die, to allow the applicant to coordinate with city staff and revise. Thank you.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Attarodi, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is deferred sine die, deferred unanimously, okay? So
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You can work with the staff as to when it comes up. Now we have another request for deferral.
Yes, please. Thank you.
We have another deferral request for number 13, which is 505 SOUDAN Avenue. And here we have the agent, Mr. Robinoff. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you're asking for deferral, and could you tell us the reason why you're asking for? I know it, but I'd like you to mention it, please.
Sure, thank you. Yes, there are some errors on the public hearing notice that went out. So we would need to correct those with the zoning examiner and have it recirculated, the notice.
Okay, now we have 2 more people registered here, and we see what they have to say. We have here on Patricia Halpin. Are you there? Is she registered? Yeah. Again, Patricia.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. Could you please state your name and address for the record?
It's Patricia Halpin, 507 Sudan Avenue.
Okay, you heard the applicant wants to defer the application. There'll be some changes and then it'll be recirculated. Do you have any problem?
No, that's fine.
Thank
That's
you.
perfect.
We're not discussing it today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Mark Snyder and Rina Radu. Mr. Snyder, are you there?
Mr. Chair, they do not appear to be present, neither Mark or Rena,
Okay.
under the names they provided, nor under the telephone number that's been provided.
Thank you. They're not there. Okay, so members, we have a request for deferral. Can I have a motion unless you have some questions? Ms. Atarodi?
So through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to defer this application so that applicant have enough time to edit the notice and then recirculate it in the neighborhood. Sine die.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Okay. Mr. Robinoff, your application is deferred sine die as requested. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Now we have one more item for deferral, which is number 23, 176 Shepherd Avenue East. That's application number 23. And we have here, it's supposed to be Mr. Chris Pereira. Are you there, Mr. Pereira?
I am. Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning. You're requesting deferral. Could you please state the reason for the deferral?
Of course. Mr. Chair, we're requesting deferral this morning based on some transportation comments we received last week. We would like a little bit more time to work with our own transportation consultant as well as coordinate with city transportation staff to address those fairly minor issues. But nonetheless, we do need a little bit more time to kind of keep working with staff on that one.
Okay, thank you. We don't have anybody else registered here. Can I have a motion for deferral or if you have any question? Yeah, Mrs. Kent. Mrs. Kent, you're
Mr. Chair, yes, I would like to bring a motion to defer this matter to allow the applicant to continue work with the transportation consultant as well as transportation services.
Sanidai. Okay, Sanidai? Sanidai.
Yeah.
Okay, second?
Yes.
Mr. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay, sir, your application is deferred, Sanidai, until you come up with the new one, okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I guess for this morning, this is the only ones we have for deferral. And we're going to start with the agenda, which is the application number 1, which is 8 Foxwarren Drive, application number 1. And here we have Mr. Franco Romano. Are you there?
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Franco Romano here, 2095 Autumn Breeze Drive, Port Credit, Ontario.
Thank you. We have another person registered here, so we'd like you to make a very brief presentation, and I'll give you the 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to refer to my supporting presentation material. And as that is being brought up, I will describe to you, sir, that this is a proposal for a second-story addition. So it's over top of the existing footprint, and it's only on the eastern part of the dwelling. And you'll see that that addition, I've outlined that in blue text. So the existing lot coverage is what is variance number 1, 31.5%. There is no change to the footprint. The existing east side yard setback of 1.315 meters is being built on top of as a second story addition. So that is no change to the building footprint. And the building height variance is a technical variance. And if you look at the lower right front elevation, you'll see, well, the lower right elevation as well as the photograph in the upper right. you will see that from the road to where the dwelling is, there is a rise in grade. So the topography rises. And under the North York bylaw, which is the former bylaw, building height is measured from the middle of the road. So the difference from the middle of the road to where the dwelling is located is about 94 centimeters, or just about 1 meter. And that reflects the height variance. So that's from the crown of road, which is basically underground next to where the building is, to the middle of the roof of the second story addition. Otherwise, under the Toronto bylaw, the 2013 bylaw, all height measurements are being complied with. So that permits a height of 10 meters, and the proposal is less than that. It's at 8.5 meters. And the wall height and the first floor height are all bylaw compliant. So this building addition is, in my opinion, a sensitive integration that maintains much of the perimeter landscaping and elements of access, etc., and creates no unacceptable adverse impact. So I would submit, sir, that the 3 variances are indeed minor and they should be authorized. So subject to any questions, sir, that's my presentation.
Thank you. So, yeah, stay still. We have another speaker here. Soren Konstantin, are you there? Soren Konstantin.
Okay, I am here. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Could you please state your name and address?
My name is Soren Konstantin, and my property is located at number 7,
Okay.
Foxwarren Drive.
Okay, so please tell us what's your concern, and I'll give you a maximum of 5 minutes.
Oh, actually, I do not need much time. I have no concerns whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I'm happy that people are starting thinking differently and are improving the image of the neighborhood. So I am 100% for this proposal. I just wanted to be here for a support to my neighbor.
Thank you. So you're in support. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Members, any question for the agent? If no questions, then maybe I need a motion. The agent doesn't have to reply. She's supporting him. Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this application, it is minor and it meets the 4 tests. I'd like to move to approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no conditions. Can I have a second, please? Ms. Atarodi, second. All in favor? Okay. Mr. Romano, your application is unanimously approved with no conditions.
Thank you kindly.
Item number 2, which is 51 MISTY Crescent. And here we have, again, stay there. Mr. Romano, are you still there?
I'm still here, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so you just stated your name and address, okay? Now we have 2
I
more.
haven't moved.
We you never know in 5 minutes.
That's right.
Okay, we have 2 more speakers here. So could you please make a short presentation on what the merit of this application is?
Yes, sir, I will. I'd like to refer to my presentation material because I think this may help explain a number of things. So this is a proposal for a new 2-story dwelling. It is an estate lot, so it's a very large lot, and it's within an elegant and stately neighborhood. So the dwelling that is proposed is actually moving closer to the front. So it's not as deep as the existing dwelling. So I am showing in blue outline where the existing dwelling is on the site plan drawing. And you'll see that the proposed dwelling is forward of that. So it's not as deep into the rear yard. So the proposal in this instance also has topography. So there's a rise in grade from the street to where the ground level is next to the dwelling. So the actual height variance under the former North York bylaw is technical because it is because of that 1.2 meter height difference from where the road is to where the ground level is next to the dwelling. Otherwise, the dwelling complies with the bylaw for the Toronto zoning bylaw 569/2013, which permits 3 stories and 11.5 meters in height. So the proposal complies with all of the height measurements under the 2013 bylaw for overall height, number of stories, because it's only 2 stories, wall height, first floor height, etc. So the lot coverage difference is 1.98%, and that is a minor variance. It's about 20 square meters or so. There is one east side yard setback variance, and that is from 2.4 meters to 2.03 meters at the front and 2.04 meters at the back. There are no windows along that east wall, along the back portion of that east wall, or on the west wall. So there is no overlook on those sides. The platform variance, so the balcony on the second floor, is also outlined, and you'll see that in the rear elevation. So this is integral to the architectural style and design of this dwelling. And you will know, sir, and because I believe I've raised this before, the 4 square meters that is permitted on every single property and every single lot in a detached residential zone throughout the city of Toronto. So if one has a lot that is 150 square meters in size and 6 meters wide in frontage, you're allowed a 4 square meter platform. In this case, we have a lot that is 25.9 meters in lot frontage and a lot area of 1,118 square meters. So the proposed balcony off of the second floor bedrooms is proportionate to the lots and has no overlook. You'll see that it's over 14 meters to the rear yard setback, to the rear lot line, which is well vegetated. And it's over 4 meters, or I think it's over 6 meters to the side lot lines. And within that 6 meters, you'll see that there's bay window projections that provide some screening along the sides. So there is no direct overlook. There are no windows that overlook to the sides, and everything is oriented towards the rear of the subject site. You'll see in the rear elevation, it's a majestic, elegant looking dwelling, and there is no increase in height relative that relates to the balcony or any windows. I've already described the height under the North York bylaw. So I would offer, sir, that 2 things. Number 1 is that a condition that there be a privacy screen of minimum 1.5 meters in height along the sides of the balconies. And in the event that there's still a concern regarding the roof covering over top of the balcony, that roof covering can be removed. So I would submit, sir, that what is being proposed here does indeed fit in with this estate-sized neighborhood and has no unacceptable adverse impact. And the height variance in particular is technical in nature, as I show at the lower image on this graphic sheet. So subject to any questions, sir, I'm happy to assist.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we'll get you back if there's any questions from the members. In the meantime, we have 2 more speakers who are registered here. Vera Straka, are you there? Vera Straka, are you there? Okay, so we go to the next one. Tim Morrell, are you there?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
Mr. Tim Morrill has rescinded his request to speak with respect to this application.
okay, thank you. And Vera, still there? Vera Straka, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, can you please state your name and address? Could you tell us your name and address, please?
Hello,
Do you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, so tell us, please, your name and address.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so please state your name.
Yeah, my name is Vera Straka. I am on the board of DMRI, and I'm the area representative on the board. My address is 26 Alderbrook Drive, and that's in the neighborhood in Lower Banbury.
Thank you. So please tell us what's your concern about this this application here.
Agree with the last presenter that the variance regarding the coverage is minor, but we think that there's significant impact of 0.4 meters east yard setback, and the reason for that is that the building is projecting at least 3 meters beyond the edge of the property at 53 MISTY Crescent, and further the balconies are also projecting even further, and because they're being roofed, they basically impacting the view from 53 MISTY. So that's we do not think that the 0.4 meter east yard setback variance is necessary, taking into account the fact that it's a large road and all the setbacks could be adhered to. We have a real problem with the balconies, because we have got many lots in the neighborhood which are on sloping ground, and so we're experiencing the decks which are at sort of elevated level at 3 meters. There's no limit on these decks, which are considered at great level due to the slope, and we see that there is impact on the neighborhood. It's noise and views which are from these elevated platforms. We're looking about at least 4 meters. This balcony is 4 meters above grade, so it's impacting people from 51 can see over the lots on basically all sides. So we do not think that this large balcony should be allowed, because it has got impact on the privacy. And the height of the roof. Yeah, there is a problem with, I think, new bylaws which do not take into account the topography of the area. It works fine if you're at the level ground, but in this case, according to the drawings which I looked at, there is a 1.5 meter difference between the established grade by the new bylaws and the center line of the street. So there's a 1.5 meter difference. Now the ground floor, it's 2.46 meters above center line of the street. So we have got even ground floor even higher up, and the height of the roof itself is 3.7 meters, or close to that. So we have got basically 3-story building in the neighborhood, which was in fact largely designed to the old bylaws. So this building is much higher than anything in the neighborhood. The fact that it has got a mansard type roof, which has got a large portion of the, or almost 50% of the roof is flat roof. There's a huge massing which this building, this new development will pose on the streetscape, and has got significant impact on the neighbors on the south side of the street, and significant impact on people which are behind. So we think that it should be some consideration should be taken to topography, and that the height of the building should be reduced.
That's it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So you have problems with each variance, I see, and we'll have the agent reply to those concerns. In the meantime, I ask the members, any question to the speaker? No? Okay. So that's the only one we have registered. Mr. Romano, can you please address those concerns?
Yes, sir. Thank you kindly. Appreciate it. And I appreciate the speaker. I guess there's a few things to keep in mind here, sir. That number one is that the as I mentioned regarding the height is because of it's being measured from the crown of road. Otherwise, the building complies with and is lower than the permitted height under the 2013 bylaw. And it's actually not much taller than the existing two-story dwelling that's on the subject site. And it is actually lower than some of the neighboring buildings that are at least 2 stories in height, some of which have more expansive flat roofs than what the current dwelling on the subject site has. What you will also see on the site plan drawing and on the air photograph that I have on my presentation material is that there is a significant amount of mature vegetation around the backyard of the subject site, as well as the perimeter along both sides. So there is absolutely no overlook onto neighboring properties. This is an estate-sized lot, and there is no sloping topography here. This is not a ravine lot like the DMRI speaker had mentioned, where it may slope away and then you're overlooking the rear yards of neighboring properties. That's not the condition here at all. The rear and next to the dwellings is relatively flat, where the topography is relatively flat. And the mature vegetation allows for the screening. So there is absolutely no overlook, and all of that was taken into account when the project was designed. And you will see, as I mentioned before, to further mitigate those balconies from the second floor bedrooms, which are secondary areas or non-entertainment areas. I recommend a 1.5 meter high privacy screen along both sides, and that will further put some belts and suspenders to no overlook onto neighboring properties to the east and west. In terms of the, well, I think that relates to, well, I've already indicated that the dwelling itself is not as deep as the current dwelling, and all of the windows on the second floor level face into the rear yard. They don't face along the sides. So this is a site design that is sensitive to its neighboring context, takes into account the estate size nature of this dwelling, and has a very pleasant and an elegant design that fits in with what's found within this neighborhood with no unacceptable adverse impacts. So subject to any questions, sir, I would submit that the variances should be authorized.
Thank you. Any questions to the speaker? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'm not clear. Is the applicant proposing to install privacy screening? Is that being proposed?
Yes, sir. Through you, Mr. Chairman, I had indicated in my initial presentation that I'd be happy to have a condition that a privacy screen of 1.5 meter high be erected along the sides of the proposed balcony.
And just a quick follow-up, you also mentioned about the roof covering. Are you making a proposal there as well?
I had, through you, Mr. Chair, I had indicated that if the roof covering over top of the balcony was a concern, that it could be removed. Yes. So I'm in your hands. I didn't hear that as being a point raised by the speaker, but happy to have that removed, either as an undertaking or as a condition.
Very good. Okay, are you prepared to make a motion, Mr. Unless there's another question? Any other question from members? If not, yeah, Ms. Siskin.
Thank you. One of the neighbors in the materials that we received is the neighbor to the rear had a concern with privacy, and you've addressed in your presentation the privacy screens and the lack of windows on the east and west, but I'm wondering if you could just address the issue of the privacy concern raised by the neighbor in the rear.
Yes, that is Mr. Morel, who had, through you, Mr. Chair, that was Mr. Morel, who had made plans to speak, but after understanding what the plans are, is no longer is a speaker on this case. So I believe that their understanding of the location of the dwelling and the balconies and how far they are actually from that property at 5 Purling, I think it is. Yeah, 5 Purling Place. There is, and the vegetation in between, that is all being retained and maintained. So there is no privacy or overlook to Mr. Morel's property there. And they are located over 14.6 meters away from where the dwelling is being located. So that's a substantial difference.
Okay. Any other question? If not, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to approve the variances that are being requested, subject to 1.5 meter privacy screening being installed on the east and west portions of the second floor balcony, and also subject to the roof covering being removed, and also subject to urban forestry.
Forestry.
Thank you.
Second? Can I have a second, please? Mr. Bartolo? Yeah, all in favor? Okay, unanimously. Mr. Franco Romano, you did a good job, and it's approved with no conditions, based on those conditions, as far as the screen and so on, okay?
Terrific. Thank you kindly. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
Number 3.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Staff have been trying to contact the applicant with respect to this application without success so far. So perhaps we should hold this item.
Oh, the agent, okay.
Correct.
All right. Would you remind me, please, when it comes up? Thank you. All right, so we'll move to number 4, item number 4, which is 78 Hellhurst Boulevard, application number 4, 78 Hellhurst. Now, this one here, we have the agent, Wendy Mason. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Can you please state your name and address for the records here?
My name is Wendy Masons. I'm with On-Site Design. I'm at 154 Bursey Street in Barrie.
Thank you. We have you recorded here as the agent, and then at the same time, we have the owner here. Who wants to speak? You're the owner.
I will be speaking.
You'll be speaking. Okay. So in that case, we don't have any other person. This application is for a new dwelling. Sorry. This is for a rear addition to the basement and ground floor and roof deck. There's 3 variances, and we have nobody here. Members, do we need a presentation here? No, if we don't, okay, Ms. Masons.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could just have a quick explanation from the applicant, especially pertaining to variance number 1 on the landscape area, please.
Okay. Could you please explain application variance number 1?
With regards to softscaping and hardscaping?
Yes.
That's correct.
The existing rear yard has, we're only taking up 10 feet of what's existing hardscaping and softscaping, and there is some existing grass between the flagstones that's at the back. If we have an option to possibly put in some permeable pavers on the driveway, if you would like to see more of sort of a softscape area, we have that as an option. But the existing backyard landscaping is not changing. We're just eating up some of what is in the rear yard due to the expansion of the dwelling.
Okay. Now,
I see.
okay, since the members did not need a presentation, do you still need to say something?
If there's no questions,
You're all set.
I'm happy to make a presentation, but
Thank you. Okay. All right, so if there is no any other question or motion, can I have a motion, please? Ms. Tarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application, which with no condition.
No condition. Thank you. Second? Mrs. Candia? All in favor? Okay. Your application is approved unanimously and there is no conditions, okay?
thank you very much.
Okay. Variance number 5, item number 5, which is 43 Heathview Avenue, application number 5. What do we have here? We have just Peter Lee, who's the agent, and we have, no, sorry, Mohammed Farzani. Are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. My name is Sarvanaz Nazem, and I'm presenting, and the email was sent on March 19 along with the revised drawings, but I'm not sure why the new set of drawings is not uploaded on the committee. And I also introduced myself to the committee as the architect and who will represent the project.
Can we just hold on? Could you please state your name and address? And
Sure.
tell us.
Sarvanaz Nazem. Yeah, my name is Sarvanaz Nazem, and my address is 16 Braemar Avenue.
Okay, so who's this Mohammed Farzani?
The owner.
Okay, so he was listed here as a speaker. Okay, so please go. We have one more speaker here. So please go ahead and make your short presentation. We have here, this is for a new dwelling. We have a staff report and we have the councillor's letter. As you, I don't know if you saw the correspondence, the councillor was requesting to refuse it, but then later on, she wrote back and she said she has no concern. And we have.
Correct. The reason, yeah, the
so,
reason why.
So
yeah.
Just a second, please go ahead. I'll give you the 5 minutes and make your presentation.
Okay, so if we refer to staff report, because the staff report has the latest site elevation that reflects the changes. After my discussion with planning department, and we wanted to address their concern about the sidewall height. So we made the changes to the side elevations to reduce the sidewall height from 9.08 to 7.82, and it was satisfying for planning department. And as you can see on the staff report, they have no objection against this application. And also the setback on the south side has been increased by 10 centimeters. So now it basically referring to variance number 4, the setback has been increased to 1.32, referring to variance number 2, instead of 9.08, the sidewall height now is 7.82. And if we can look at the staff report and the attached drawings, I can't share, but right? Can someone share the staff report with everyone? thank you. Yeah, so as you can see, the sidewall height has been reduced significantly to meet with planning department requirements. We followed their instruction and we lowered it, and that's why councillor is now not refusing our application.
Very good. Okay, so are you finished? Yeah.
Yeah, and also the last thing, it's very, very minor, but the variance number 3 has also been revised. So we're actually meeting the requirement of 1.2 meters for the difference between the first floor and the established grade. So basically there won't be any variance number 3.
Mr. Chairman, sorry to interrupt, but can we have the agent go through the changes again?
Yeah. I was planning
In order?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was planning to.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you have here one that the staff report mentioned for the 1.2. You changed to 1.32. That's the only one we got. Could you please go over the other ones?
Yeah, sure. If we can look at staff report drawings again, so I can explain on the drawings.
Yeah, just list. Could you list the changes, please?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So the other change is to the sidewall height that we changed from 9.08. We reduced it to 7.82.
Can you please, sorry to interrupt, but can you please go in order of the variances and list the variance that you're changing?
Yeah. So referring to variance number 2, the sidewall height has been reduced to 7.82. Referring to variance number 3, the difference between the first floor and the established grade is now 1.2. And referring to variance number 4, the setback has been increased to 1.32.
Okay. They were like, 6 variances. Okay. Now we don't have any 6, 5. Yeah, we have another. We have Peter Lee. Yeah, is he there? Is he registered, Peter Lee? Well, the agent will come back if we have another speaker here. Peter Lee is there. Okay. Are you?
Hello?
Yeah, Peter Lee, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, could
Chairman.
you please state your name and address, and tell us what your concern is, and if you listen to all the changes that were made, so please tell us what your concern after those changes have been made.
Yes, I'm Peter Lee. My address is 45 Heathview Avenue.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm just here to get a better understanding of what the construction is, but to me, no major concerns, just here to support the neighbor. Just one question on the on section 6. So the proposed building height remains the same at 10.07, correct? In relation to the sidewall, like what's the correlation there? So the sidewall is lowered, but then the overall building height remains the same. So, possible to clarify that part, please?
Well, we'll have the agent explain after you finish. Beside those changes she made, the one you're questioning is variance number 6. Is that correct?
Yeah, I wonder if the
why is
total
it
height remains.
Why is it 10.07, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Any other question?
No, thank you.
Okay. Members, any question to the speaker? No? Okay. So, can you please get back the agent here?
Sure, I'm here.
So.
Okay, so Right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to explain why variance number 6 shows a higher number. So we are complying with new bylaw in terms of the building height, which is 10 meters. But because under old bylaw, the height is measured from the crown of the road to midpoint of the roof. And the fact that the difference between the crown of the road and the established grade is almost 70 centimeters, it's a big drop. And that's why it has caused a variance under the old bylaw. However, the building itself is complying with the required and permitted, the permitted building height under new bylaw, which is 10 meters. We're not exceeding more than 10 meters in general.
Okay, thank you. Any
No problem.
any question to this to the agent here? No. If no question, can I have a motion, please? I'm sorry, Mr. Bartolo.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the following amendments and conditions. That variance number 2, the proposed height of the side exterior main wall facing a side lot line be changed to 7.82 meters. Variance number 3, the proposed actually variance number 3 eliminated because they're going to comply at 1.2 meters, and variance number 4, the proposed south yard setback be changed to 1.32 meters. This will also be subject to excuse me, the proposal being developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and elevations submitted in the attached document here before us, and subject to the 3 conditions noted in the urban forestry memo.
Thank you. Second, Mrs. Ling, all in favor? Thank you. Your application is approved based on those conditions and changes you made, okay?
Thank you. Have a great day.
Mr. Chair, I'm of the understanding that the agent with respect to item number 3 is present now.
Is present, thank you. Okay, that's Marlene, right?
Yes, it's Marilyn.
Marlene, okay,
Hello.
hi. Good morning. Could you please
Hi.
state your name and address?
Hi, my name's Marilyn Duarte, and my address is 10 Almont Road, North York.
Okay, and you, yeah, could you hold 1 second, please? This is
Sure.
for a new dwelling for variances. The staff reports just a condition and forestry. Members, do we need the presentation here? Or any question? Yes, Ms. Tarodi?
I appreciate a presentation.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Duarte, could you please make a presentation? We'll give you a 5 minutes here to make your presentation.
Okay.
As to your the merit of your application.
Okay, well, I recently got divorced, and I'm planning to build this house for myself and my 3 kids. And in order to meet my family's needs, I require a small number of variances here. I feel that my proposal is desirable and appropriate to the development for the area. And after researching previous COA rulings, I feel that my requested variances are minor in nature and are keeping with the general intent and purpose of the city zoning code, and the general intent of the official plan is being maintained.
That's it? Okay. Yeah, there is 4 variances here. Any question? Ms. Tarodi?
I need an explanation regarding the variance number 2, the lot coverage of 35.55% versus 30%.
Did you have the question? Yeah.
Okay. Yes, well, we're asking for a minor variance in coverage as my family requires a 4-bedroom home with a 2-car garage because my kids have 2 cars. I have twins that are 16, 17. We have 3 cars in total right now. And I've seen that the COA decisions have granted over 36.5%, and we're only asking for 35.5.
Very good. Any other question? Can I have a motion then? I'm waiting for a motion. Mr. Tharodi, did you want to make a motion?
Nobody's going to make a motion?
Sure.
Mr.
I
Tharodi?
can, yes. I would like to put, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes. Variance number 2, the proposed lot coverage is now 32% of the lot area. And also, the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment Attachment 1 and 2.
Okay, so you're changing
And,
the.
and it's subjected to forestry.
Okay, so you're changing the coverage to 32%. Is that what it is? Okay.
Correct.
Do I have a second for that? Mr. Klassen, second. All in favor? Opposed? Mr. Bartolo is opposing. And your application is approved subject to the change of the lot coverage to 32% and subject to the condition of the staff to regarding the drawings and subject to forestry. Did you hear that?
Okay,
Yeah?
thank you.
Okay. By the way, as an owner, she made a good presentation. Okay. Okay, item number 7, which is 16 Cascading Drive, application number 7. So what do we have here? We have Yuri Vladimirsky. Yuri Vladimirsky,
Yes.
are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, could you please repeat your name and address, please?
My name is Yuri Vladimirsky and address 16 Cascading Drive.
Okay, so this we have to. This is to enclose a portion of the porch. One variance only. TRCA have no objection, and 1 letter of objection. But we have nobody recorded here to speak. So, members, do we need a presentation here? No. Okay, Mr. Vladimirsky.
Yeah.
Mr.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I would appreciate a presentation on this one, please.
Oh. Okay, Mr. Vladimirsky, could you please give us a presentation? We're going to
Yes.
We're going to give you the 5 minutes. Tell us what the merit of your
Yes.
application is.
Okay, so it's a very simple. It was existing perch, a concrete perch, open. I'm not changing any blueprints of the house, so the concrete it stays the same way. And actually, it's a semi-detached, so my neighbors have exactly the same perch you can see on the drawings. So the only what I did, I planning to enclose with 2 walls and put the door. So my corridor hallway is gonna be much warmer. Otherwise, when you open the door, you it's a little semi-detached. When you open the door, you become like a part of the living room. So in this way, if the porch is gonna be closed, it's gonna be door in the other side, and it's gonna be less cold air coming to the house. Pretty much that's it.
That's it?
Yep.
Any question? Can I please have a motion? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is minor. It meets all the four tests. I'd like to move to approve this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Second.
Thank you.
Second, Mrs. Ling, Mrs. Kind, all in favor? Okay, your application is approved unanimously, okay? And no conditions.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Item number 8, which is 563 Deloraine Avenue. And we have here just the agent, Mr. Victor Gitberg. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
can you please state your name and address?
My name is Victor Gitberg. I'm an architect. I'm representing the owners of this property.
Okay, this is for,
60 Deloraine.
thank you. This is for a new dwelling, just 3 variances, condition of the forestry, 1 letter of objection, and 1 letter of support signed by 6 neighbors. Members, do we need a presentation here? Ms. Atarodi?
Yes, I appreciate a presentation, please.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Can you please give us a small presentation? You have
Absolutely.
You're entitled to 5 minutes, and tell us what the okay. Tell us what your application is all about.
Okay. Yes, so the application in front of you is to build 2-story new dwelling with integral garage. And apparently it was in front of Committee of Adjustment several months ago, last year, in the autumn of last year. So basically, the reason we are coming back to you is owners changed their mind. They wanted different design of the house. They want to be more modern, and we had to change the style of the roof and style of the eaves. So basically, the house was redesigned to have internal gutters, or so-called ditched roof. That's trigger. Like all of those variances already been approved before, but we are changing them. We're changing the height of the main wall. We're changing the height of the building by old North York bylaw, because of the high eaves are higher, so the midpoint measurement is different now, and it's a slight slight increase in coverage compared to what was approved in the previous application. The reason for that, again, is exterior design. We are not changing footprint of the house. It's just in the previous design we had bay window, which bylaw excludes from the coverage calculation, and in this design we eliminated bay window. We just project the whole right portion of the house forward, just to have this architectural appearance the owner wanted and be designed. So basically, yeah, we discussed the application with city staff. We made some minor adjustment to satisfy their requirements, and we discussed it with the neighbors who are supporting us. So yeah, so that's basically my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer.
Thank you. Any question?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'm just curious. What was the lot coverage that was previously approved?
The previously approved lot coverage was 35.35.
And it's being increased from that.
It's been increased to 36,005. But as I said, like the physical dimensions of the house more or less the same. Like we're not reducing any side yards or front yards. It's just previous coverage. We had bay window, which was excluded from the coverage calculation. Now instead of this bay window is sort of it's extending to the ground, and that caused a minor increase in coverage, but we did not increase any of the yards.
Any other question? If not, can I have a motion, please? I don't see any hand. Okay, Mr. Tarodi.
To all respect to the previous, through you, Mr. Chair, to all respect to the previous panel decision, for me, looking at this application, I don't see it as a minor. I don't see that 36% lot coverage versus 30 is a minor change. And also, I also have, I don't see the height of side exterior door, although they just, it's not minor. I mean, therefore, my motion will be to refuse this application.
Number 8, Victor. Your motion is to reject the application and do I have
Refuse.
to oppose, yeah? Do I have a second? Mr. Tarodi, Ms. Siskind, second. All in favor? Opposed? Mr. Bartolo opposing. Okay, sir, I'm sorry, your application has been rejected. Your application is refused, okay?
Okay, thank you.
So, item number 9, which is 11 WYNN Road, application number 9. What do we have here? We have Mr. Mehran Hedari. Are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Committee of Adjustment. My name is Mehran Haidari from PMP Design Group, 1090 Don Mills Road, Unit 506.
And your address?
1090 Don Mills Road, Unit 506, Norfolk, Ontario.
Thank you. Thank you. Just hold a second. We have new dwelling. Nobody else, just the variances. Members, do we need any presentation? No? Okay. Mr. Mehdi, we don't need a presentation. We're going to go to the committee for a decision, but in the meantime, did you want to say something to the committee? Or we just move on?
No.
No? Okay.
No, yeah, move on.
Okay, so your application remains as is with the same variances. Can I have any question or motion, please? Can I have a motion? I'm still watching. Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair. These are minor changes that are being proposed, and they're in keeping with the Planning Act. So I'd like to move to approve the application.
And no conditions. Okay.
No.
Second, Ms. Siskind? All in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You made a good presentation.
I know. Yeah.
Okay. Item 10, which is 29 Briarfield Drive, application number 10. Again, we have just one registered agent. He's the agent. Nadine Ifran, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, can you please state your name and address?
My name is Nadeem Irfan, and I Architects, 10 Milner Business Fort, Suite 710, Scarborough, Ontario, and 1B3C6.
Okay, we have this is for a new dwelling. There is a staff report with a condition. You're okay with that condition? to develop according to the height and so on. And we have 2 letters of objection, but nobody is registered here. And there is forestry. So let's see, members, do we need a presentation? And if not, Ms. Efran, we don't need the presentation. Do you still want to say something to the committee, or we just move on?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to request for the approval.
Okay, that's a nice request. Okay, okay, can I have a motion unless you have some questions? Can I have a motion here, Mrs. Ken?
I actually have a question for the applicant. First, you have received a couple complaints, or there's some opposition to the deck size. And I'm wondering if you could just address that, please.
Did you hear the question?
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
This is an incidental space above the garage. If we were to make the master bedroom bigger right on top of the garage wall, we would not need this variance. So in order to create an architectural feature, we set back the 2nd story wall for that master bedroom, and that created a space. We could have written this as a roof and got away with that, but it's a nice space to stand at the front of the house and enjoy perhaps the weather. So that space is about 11.25, and there's a variance for that.
Any other question? Can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, subject that it be developed substantially in accordance with the building height as shown on the west, front, north, and south elevation drawings attached in this report, and subject to the conditions noted in the urban forestry memo.
Thank you. Second? I have 2 seconds. Mr. Klassen was first, okay? All in favor? Okay. Your application is unanimously approved, subject to that condition of the elevation drawing and so on, okay? And condition. And
thank you, Mr. Chair.
And forestry.
Thank you.
11. Item 11, which is 855 ROSELAWN Avenue, item number 11. So here again we have Kim Story. Kim Story, are you there? Okay, can you please state?
Yes, I can.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Kim Story from Brown & Story Architects. The address is Suite 902, 80 Richmond Street West, Toronto.
Okay, and could you please, this here is regarding the new apartment on the 2nd floor. I think I would need a small presentation to tell us what's going on. The requirement
Yes.
of 2 square meters, and you're proposing 0. So could you please give us a small presentation as to the merit of the application?
Yes, could I refer to the documentation that was provided, please? Is, while we're waiting for the support documentation to come up on the screen, or is it up for you? I don't see it.
Yeah, what could you please specify what you're looking for?
The drawings that were provided in the supporting documentation of the application.
Could you please be specific which drawing you need?
I need drawings A101, A102.
Okay.
And A201 and 202.
Okay, we got it.
Thank you. Okay, if you go ahead by a couple of drawings. Could you move ahead by one?
Yeah, could you please continue, because we can have only one drawing at a time.
I see. Okay. Well, I just wanted to, okay, the subject of the presentation is for this apartment building, which was built in 1973. It's an 18-story apartment building, and it's a Toronto community housing property. This is part of a larger initiative that TCH has been going through in the last year to insert new service hubs into over 100 apartment buildings in the city, which would bring together kind of localized tenant services. So in this case, we're providing a service hub that includes the superintendent's office, a couple of meeting spaces for staff and tenants, and a tenant service coordinator. So the idea is that the tenants could have a place in their building they can go to for a number of services rather than having to go to a centralized facility. So this is part of a very large initiative that's been going on. So the object of the project, if we could move ahead by one slide, please. Yeah. Okay, and one more slide, please. And I'm sorry, and one more, sorry, there's two site plans. One more, please. Okay, and this is the existing ground floor plan of the building. So you can see there's, on the upper right, there's a 2-bedroom unit. Next to that is a superintendent's office and storage. And this is a site that we identified as possible for inserting a new service hub. The area that is shaded to the right of the lobby is all the existing amenity space that's provided in the building. That amenity space is 275 square meters. Now, there's a zoning bylaw that states that for every unit in the building, you have to provide 2 square meters of interior amenity space. There are presently 253 units in the building, and which would mean that the existing amenity space should be 446, but it's not, and that is an existing condition. Now, if we could go ahead one slide, please. On the second floor, we identified the idea that we could use the superintendent's, the 2-bedroom unit on the ground floor in the superintendent's office to provide the service hub, because it's right next to the lobby and it would be an ideal position. Now, to relocate the 2-bedroom unit, we identified these 4 spaces, 4 bays on the second floor, which would currently not be used anymore after the service hub has been built. That's the employee change room, elevator storage room, storage, and employee lunchroom. These 4 bays then were to be a site for the relocated 2-bedroom, which now becomes a 3-bedroom unit. But we also identified the possibility of making the employee change room and the employee lunchroom 2-bed sitting units, so that we could actually increase the number of units in the building. Could we go ahead by one slide, please? Okay, I'm not sure why okay, can we go ahead 2 more slides? We are required to show the elevations, which really have nothing to do with this application. So if we could go ahead by to drawing A201. Thank you. Here you see the proposed service hub.
I'll ask you to summarize, please.
Okay, sorry.
Your 5 minutes are over.
Okay, one more slide, please. Just go ahead to the next one. That's the service hub plan. If you go up to the next slide, please. You can see we have a 3-bedroom unit in the 2 center bays and 2 bed sitting units. By adding 2 new units, we are required to add 4 more square meters into the amenity space. We haven't used any of the existing amenity space, and we don't have an opportunity to add more amenity space. So we are requesting this variance so that we can actually add these 2 new units to the this building.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay, we have to stop you. You
Thank you.
spend lots of time on the drawing. So, any questions? No, Ms. Tarodi? Yeah, Ms. Tarodi, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, How much is the existing indoor amenity space and how many units are in the complex?
There are 253 units now, and the amount of amenity space that is there is 275 square meters.
Okay.
Okay, any other question? So can I have a motion then? Ms. Siskind? Ms. Siskind, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to approve this application without conditions, as it's clearly desirable for the appropriate development and the policies around in the public housing in Toronto. And I think this sounds like an excellent move. I move to approve it.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay, unanimously approved your application, okay?
That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Okay. Item number 12, which is 4 Burley Heights Drive, variance number, application number 12. Mister, we have just one person registered, who is the agent, Long Lee. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Can you please state your name and address, please?
My name is Long Lee at 875 Sombrero Way, Mississauga.
Okay, so we have here, this is for a new dwelling. You saw the staff report, they're asking to reduce the coverage to 32, while the councillor is asking to refuse it. And the staff is asking for refusing variance number 2, which relates to the height. Now, we don't have anybody speaking, but for these changes, we'd like you to make a small presentation and cover all the changes that have to be made. Okay?
Okay. So yes, we are seeking 5 minor variants for this new detached house, right? The first one is 32% lot coverage. The second one is the wall height that we are seeking to get approval for 8.47 meter. The owner was after a modern design of the house, so we thought it was undesirable to have a side roof. Therefore, we request that to get approved. Due to the size of the lot, which is the depth of the lot, because of the additional 2% that we add, we violate the front setback and the back setback a little bit by 0.33 meter for the yard setback and slightly for the front setback. So that is 3 and 4. And the variance number 5 is that the total height of the house is still 9.456 meter, which is still within the Toronto citywide bylaw.
Okay.
So we feel like these variants that we request in here are truly minor in general, and we request approval.
Okay. So you're changing to 32%, right? You're okay with the 32%?
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
All right. And there is one letter of objection. We don't have her here, so it looks like they decided not to come. And any questions for this speaker? Ms. Satarodi?
Yes, just one more time. The only modification is variance number 1 to 32%.
That's right.
Thank you.
And the staff is asking to refuse number 2, and it's up to you to go over, which is 7.5 meter requires. They want to 8.47. Staff is asking to refuse it, but it's if you can make a motion and see what you want to do. Mr. Bartolo?
Yeah, I just have a question for the applicant there, Mr. Chair. In regards to variance number 2, the height,
yes.
Just looking at the drawings here, what prevents you from from complying with the zoning bylaw. The pitch of your roof is quite shallow and it's
Yes.
fairly high up, and I think that's what's doing it. But it looks like it could be modified, in my opinion.
It's just
So
that, sorry, we have 10 feet on the main floor and 9 feet on the second, nine on the second and 10 on the main floor, right? So if we do reduce the wall height, we would need to have more like a side roof to cover that wall, and we thought that it's undesirable based on the design that we're after. It's a modern design look, so we thought that that's undesirable in terms of the appearance of the house.
Any other question? Mr. Bartolo, do you want to submit a motion?
no, I mean, just to the applicant there, Mr. Chair, I think with some slight modifications to the overall building height, you could maybe not exactly achieve the zoning bylaw, but your sidewall height could be significantly reduced, that it's more manageable if you're willing to make some modifications there.
Okay, so if that's the case, can I make the variance number 5 slightly higher, like to within 10 meters, so that we can adjust the wall height?
You're free to propose amendments, but it's not up to me to tell you. It's up to you to propose.
Yeah. You want to change the variance to what height?
We would like to change number 5 from 9.56 to, let's say, 10 meters. That is still within the Toronto citywide bylaw, so that we can adjust the height of the roof, so that we have a set 8-meter sidewalk. Would that be acceptable?
Okay, so number 2, you're changing it to 8 meter.
8 meter.
And number 5, you're changing it to 10 meters, right?
10 meters.
Okay.
Yes.
And the coverage to 32.
32%.
So
exactly.
those are the changes.
Mr. Chairman, you can't make the variances worse. If he's going to do that, the application has to be deferred if he's increasing the height.
He's not increasing the height. He's reducing it from 7.
Well, he said that variance number. Hold on one second here. He said that variance number 5 is going to 10 meters.
But that is still within the citywide bylaw of 10 meters. Would that be acceptable?
Well, if I'm looking here, it says the maximum building height is 8.8 meters, and you're going from 9.56 to 10 meters, so you're making it higher.
Okay, so you know what? Just leave number 5 as is, and we reduce the number 2 to 8 meters. Would that be acceptable?
You leave number 5 as is, and you're changing the
Yes.
number 2 to 8 meters.
2, 8 meters.
Okay, so the only changes you're making is reduce the coverage to 32%, and
Yes.
and to reduce the height of
Number
2
2.
to 8 meters.
Correct.
Okay, any other change? That's it.
That would be the change that that I'm going to make. Yes.
Proposing.
And I'm seeking approval for that.
Okay, yeah, he has a point there. He can't make it worse. Okay. Any other question? Okay, then can I have a motion, please? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I appreciate the applicant's his willingness to revise the application, and so I'll move to approve it, subject to variance number 1, changing to 32%, and variance number 2, changing to 8 meters, and it's also subject to urban forestry.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Attarodi, all in favor? Okay, unanimously. So your application is approved subject to those changes and subject to forestry. All right? Number.
Mr. Chair, I wonder if we could take a short recess.
Thank you. Perfect. So we'll have a small recess. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Next one is 13, huh? Okay, we're back to session here, and we're into application number 14, which is 31 Woburn Avenue. And here we have one person only registered, which is the agent, Daniel Allen. Are you there? For 31 Woburn, Daniel Allen, are you there? He's not here, huh? Is he registered?
Mr. Chair, Daniel Allen was present previously. I'm not entirely sure where they've gone.
Okay, so should we hold on to it?
Yeah, perhaps we should hold it.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chair, it appears that Daniel is back.
Okay, Daniel, are you there, please?
Hi, yes, I am.
Okay, can you please state your name and address?
My name is Daniel Allen. I am representing 31 Woburn Avenue. My address is 66 Malt Avenue in Brampton.
Thank you. Okay, that's enough. Members, we have this here, one variance, one letter of support. Do we need the presentation? No? Okay. Mr. Allen, we don't need the presentation, and we can go straight to the decision unless you want to say something.
Oh no, I don't have really anything to say because I think everything is basically pretty clear in terms of minor in nature.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion? Ms. Tarodi?
I agree with the applicant. Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application. I agree it's very minor and with no other condition.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Siskind, all in favor? Okay. Your application is approved. Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 15, which is 277 Acton Avenue. And here we have again just one person registered. Okay. Hold a second. We're calling 277 Acton Avenue, and we have one registered. I'd like you to speak up, please. Is that Yasso Somalingam?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yes, hello?
Okay.
Hello? 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 Hello?
Hold a second. Do you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so please state your name and address.
Yasso Somalingam, 850 Tapscott Road, Toronto, M1X 1N4, Nancy 4.
Very good. Okay, just hold on, please. We have here
Sure.
a new dwelling. Staff report has a condition to develop per site plan. Transportation, no objection, and there is forestry. Do we need the presentation? Ms. Satarodi?
I appreciate a presentation,
Okay.
please.
Okay. Mr. Solingham, we need the presentation. I'll give you 5 minutes. Please tell us the merit of your application.
Okay. Okay, what we have done is that it's a completely new house. The shape of the lot is it's not parallel on both sides, so it's creating a little bit of issue on our side yard as requirements, and also having a house on a flanked yard. We are going through little bit issues with the side setback requirements and maximum coverage on our application. So what we have done is that we have worked with the planning department. We have adjusted the side yard setbacks at the rear, and then we worked on that. So the variances what we are asking now is the minimum lot area, we are complying that. Lot frontage, we are complying that. The coverage, which is a footprint of the area, what is allowed is 30%. We are asking 35.54. And the side yard setback, on one side it has to be 1.8 meters, and we are asking 1.2 meters at the front corner, and on the back side it's almost 2.1 meters, which is more than the required setback. As I said, this is because of the lot is not parallel from front to back. Even though the setback at the garage at the front is 1.2 meters, the building portion which is at the back, we have 1.74 at the front, and in the back is 2.1 meters. This is a one single family residence to be built, and the application is to demolish the existing and build a complete new house.
Okay, are you finished? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions?
I just, I also would like to get explanation regarding variance number 4, lot coverage.
Did you hear the question? Could you please go over the coverage of variance number 4?
Which is, okay, the coverage for this lot, it's what is allowed is 30%.
Yeah.
We are asking 35.54, which is a 5.54 percentage more than what's allowed.
He's asking for 34.77. Yeah, just a second. Are we talking about the same house here with 277 Acton Avenue? Your variance number 4 is asking for 34.77. Why are you saying 35?
Sorry, 34.77, 4.7 percentage more. So originally we asked for 5.54, then we reduced it as per the planning.
Okay. Any other question? Mr. Bartolo?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to the agent or applicant there, I'm looking at your site plan for your side yard setbacks here.
Mm-hmm.
I see the 1.22 at the front corner, adjacent to the garage, to the neighboring lot line, and you're saying you're 2.1 in other areas, but I'm reading 1.79. I just want to make sure I'm looking at the correct site plan and that nothing's changed.
Okay, so 1.74 just behind the garage, and towards the back, at the edge of the rear of the house, we have 2.1.
This says 1.79. Drawing A1.
Run a second. Oh, we revised that to the planning requirements. The planning wanted us to move the backside, so it's identified as reversion 3. I don't know whether you got that drawing. Hold on.
Let me check. I have A1 through A9. Okay, so you've revised that. You've revised the setbacks in that area. So you're still 1.22 at the front corner, and then you're tapering to a larger setback of 2.1. You're saying at the rear. Okay.
Yeah, towards the back, it's coming 2.1. Yes, we moved the back portion of the building further.
And there is a condition per site plan.
Yes. I think they are saying condition they wanted us to build as per the site plan.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons I ask. I want to make sure that if it passes, it's tied to the correct site plan. You don't have issues in the future. Because what I have right now is what I'm being told is not the most recent site plan.
We had, yes, I'm okay with the site plans there.
Okay, I see the bubbles on the screen there. Okay,
Yeah.
I know I know what's going on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? If there's no more question, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Klassen? Mr. Klassen, go ahead, please.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll move to approve this application. It does seem there's been some adjustments that have been made in the past, and it'll be subject to the one condition from the staff report, and also subject to urban
forestry.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Second. Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Opposed? I have two opposing here. Okay, so Mr. Klassen and Mr. Bartolo are for the application, and I have two opposing. So I looked at the application, and based on the changes, based on the condition that the staff submitted, I have no problem with the application, and I'll join the motion to approve it, subject to the condition of the staff to attach to the site plan. Okay, so your application is approved subject to that condition and subject to forestry as submitted by Mr. Klassen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, the committee.
Okay, so that was number 15, now on 16, okay. Item number 16, which is 34 Morewood Crescent. And here we have, oh boy, this is going to be a, okay. So, Mr. Benchkovsky, are you there?
I'm here, sir.
Okay, could you please state your name and address?
Jonathan Benskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, we have lots of speakers here registered to speak, and we need you to make a presentation. And remember, the staff is asking to refuse, and the councillor is asking to refuse as well. Now, based on that, you still want to go ahead with your application?
Yes, sir. We would like to proceed as is today.
Please go ahead. You have 5 minutes to make your presentation.
Yes, if we could bring up my submitted support material onto the screen. To quickly go through the first two variances, which I don't think are largely based upon the opposition. If we could go to page 1. The proposed lot coverage does not request any type of performance request for any type of setback from the front, rear, or sides, or as well as building length. So the bird's eye view of the dwelling isn't compliant with the zoning bylaw in terms of built form requirements that would lead to an increase in setbacks. In terms of the platform, if we see here, what I've done is I put this request for the platform in yellow. That platform request is for the front of the dwelling on the second floor. In addition, that platform is recessed into the front wall of the dwelling. So this is not a projection that comes outside of the main walls of the dwelling. It is built wholly inside of the dwelling. And again, it is located within the interior of the house at the front, therefore creating no overlook or privacy issues into the rear. If we go to the next page, please. The bulk of the opposition before you today is going to deal with the request for a third floor as well as the flat roof height. So what you have before you today is the identifying areas of what is proposed to be flat above 7.2 meters and what portion is at 7.2 meters. So the green portion on the screen that is before you today is the only portion of the dwelling that is being requested above 7.2 meters. That green portion accounts for 25% of the total flat roof area. 75% of the proposed roof is within compliance of the zoning bylaw at 7.2 meters. If we could go to the next slide, please. So what I've done with the elevations is I've actually taken that same red, kind of light red area and superimposed that onto the dwelling. So what we see in front of you today is the portion of the dwelling as seen from the street, which would be the front elevation. That red portion there is what is being requested in excess of the 7.2 meter flat roof height. Everything to the right of that would be considered compliant with the zoning bylaw. If we could go to the next slide, please. And we see the same thing from the rear. Now remember, as per the flat roof plan I previously showed you, this red portion is recessed from that rear wall of the dwelling. So the impact of this increase in height would not be visible into the rear yards of the neighbors. That portion of the dwelling is fully in compliant at the rear. If we can go to the next two slides, please. So what we have here is, as I mentioned, that rear portion of the dwelling is fully within compliance of the zoning bylaw. Next one, please. I know I'm going a little quicker. I have a lot of material to get through. Again, now we see the same side elevation with that request only appropriated at the front. Next, please. So when we approach and we look at the zoning bylaw and the official plan specifically speaks to respecting and reinforcing, with the zoning bylaw specifically addressing impact. And is there adverse impact from what is being requested from this 3-story dwelling or the portions that are above 7.2 meters? So what you have before you today on the left would be the front and the rear dwellings of what would be compliant with the zoning, which is what is proposed before you today. On the right side, what we've done is we've taken the height that would be as per the zoning bylaw if this were to be a pitched roof house. So if we look at the massing of the flat roof house on the left, and I've taken that same green color on the right and superimposed it to show that massing that is what is being proposed with the flat roof dwelling at the 8.73 meters, we can see a mass that addresses the street from a compliant, and important to remember, that is a compliant height on the right. Now, it would require a main wall variance only for the green portion. So that portion would require a main wall height variance. No other portion of the dwelling would. That height as per the zoning bylaw on the right is compliant with the zoning bylaw. So just because there is a request for a 3-story dwelling, we need to look at the planning policies that lead us to this. And those deal with adverse impact. Those deal with respecting and reinforcing. In my opinion, the proposal that is before you today has no adverse impacts on either neighbors. In addition, with the third floor being appropriated only at the front of the dwelling.
We'll be back to you when there's questions. You're over the 5 minutes already. We have lots of speakers here, and
I have lots more to say too.
And we'll get you back. Okay. In the meantime, we'll listen to the other ones, and then we'll have, if the members have any question, we'll tackle them later on. We have here Stephen Smith. Are you there? Stephen Smith.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, can you please state your name and address?
Yes, my name is Stephen Smith, and I'm at 31 Morewood, which is directly across the street from 34.
Okay,
and,
tell us what's your concern. I'm giving you the 5 minutes, and please try. If you don't have to take the 5 minutes, you don't have to take it. Take us.
No, I certainly won't need to take the 5 minutes because I myself and half a dozen other neighbors have have provided letters of objection in addition to that, that of the city and Shelley Carroll, the council. We could go through each one of these, and I'm sure that the committee has already gone through each one of the objectives, so I won't take your time with going through each one of them. The bottom line for myself and speaking on behalf of my neighbors is that this is a building that will be out of place with the neighborhood. It's from what the plans that I've seen, it looks to be, with all due respect to the builder, it looks like it's an apartment building rather than a house. It's a big, large building that doesn't fit within the character of the neighborhood. So, notwithstanding the fact that that it contravenes a number of the bylaws, not the least of which is the fact it's a 3-story building in a neighborhood that has got 42 houses, most of which are single. Mine, of course, is a renovated one, but we use the same footprint, and it's a lot less area that's been taken up. Bottom line is, we don't believe that this house fits within the neighborhood, and it contravenes a number of different bylaws. So, with that, I'll pass it on to somebody else.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Hold a second. Any question for the speaker? No? Okay, we'll listen to the next one. And we have the one listed here is Andrew Degama. Degama, are you there? Andrew Degama. Okay. Are they registered? No. They're registered. Okay, one more time, Andrew Degama. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Pepe K and Paul Tan.
Hello.
Hi, could you please state your name
I'm
and
Paul Tan.
Could you please state your name and address?
Yes, Paul Tan at 36 Morewood Crescent.
Okay, now could you tell us what's your concern? And you heard the speaker before. If you have something different, please go ahead and tell us what's your concern.
I share the concern with Mr. Smith and my neighbors. My neighbors' letters of objections. The proposed building will be a 3-story house that is significantly taller and larger than single and double-story houses in the neighborhood. It is entirely out of character and will infringe on the privacy, light, and views of the surrounding neighbors. The applicant mentioned that about a quarter of the only a quarter of the footprint is above the bylaw, but the total height is still higher, and it's still a 3-story building. So it is still a significantly larger house than the neighbors. I find that it will be completely out of place. Yes. So the bylaw I find is already generous and allows for a comfortable and spacious home. Therefore, I request that the committee reject the variances and advise the applicant to redesign the plans according to the bylaw. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hold a second. Any question for this speaker? No? Okay, we'll go to the next one, who is Lori Hung. Are you there? Lori Hung.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can you please state your name and address?
Yes, Lori Hung, 33 Morewood Crescent.
Okay, and we would appreciate if it's not repeating the same thing, because we have we heard it's out of character, it's a 3-story, it's a neighborhood. So if you have something different, okay. If not, we'd appreciate if you just concentrate on what you have extra.
Yes, understood. Yeah, just to, I'm not going to repeat what my neighbors have already said, but just that when I look at what the Committee of Adjustment reviews in terms of variances, this variance request is not minor, and I don't believe that it's desirable for the neighborhood, as per the reasons why my neighbors have previously stated.
Thank you. That's very, very concise and who the other one is Carol Stinson. First of all, do we have any question for the speaker? No. So Karen Stinson, are you there?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I've been advised that Carol Stinson and Nancy Morrison will no longer be speaking today.
Okay, so all we have suspended here is Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith, are you there? Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I spoke at first, and I'm also speaking on behalf of Carol Stinson and Nancy.
Okay, hold a second. Who's speaking now?
My name is Stephen Smith. I've already spoken. I'm at 31 Morewood Crescent.
Oh, okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That's
thank
it. That's it. Okay. Oh, wait, what we had Andrew Grama. Andrew the Gamma, are you there? Andrew the Gamma.
Mr. Chair, staff have been unsuccessul in attempting to reach out to Andrew DeGamma.
Okay, very good. So we covered all the speakers. Now we have just the agent. Mr. Benskowski, could you please come back and address those concerns?
Yes, if we could go to my supporting material, the south front elevation. So the only portion that is being requested for the third story is that portion that I had identified on that flat roof plan as being red. The rest of the dwelling is a conventional two-story dwelling, as you can see that is before you today. Now, it is somewhat of a technical variance in nature being considered a three-story, as we see numerous dwellings that are designed with a garage and two functional floors of living above it being considered two-story dwellings by the mere placement of a closet at the main front entrance. I'm not here to argue with the zoning examiner. I'm not saying that this has been misinterpreted incorrectly. This is how it was interpreted by the zoning examiner. But as you know, and as you will see through numerous applications before you today, 2 stories of dwellings above a garage is often not considered a 3-story dwelling. So what you have before you today, the only portion, again, that is appropriated above the zoning bylaw and creating the 3rd-story request is that red portion. My friend, the adjacent neighbor at number 36, Mr. Tan, spoke about a loss of privacy as well as shadowing. The dwelling wholly located next to him is 7.2 meters in height. It is as per the zoning bylaw. Now, if we could go back down 3 slides, please, to my comparison. What we see there would be a dwelling that I'm not saying would create privacy or overlook, but would definitely have a greater impact on adjacent neighbors. And that is as per the zoning bylaw. Lastly, if we could go to the next page, I just would like to show maybe the surrounding neighborhood, the different impacts of different styles of homes and how they are from the street. So what we see here is the adjacent dwelling at 28 Morewood Crescent. You would call this a 2-story dwelling with a 3rd-story front kind of pediment that I would assume deals with the stair tower in the middle. If we could go to the next slide, please. We'll now see some pitched roof houses that are most likely zoning bylaw compliant with a massing that addresses the street in a much different way. Next slide, please. And my friend at Mr. 31 Morewood, located on the left, did speak today, Mr. Smith. Here we see a massing that addresses the street as a much larger house that is visible. A flat roof dwelling will always address and create a mass that is lower than a pitched roof house because a roof is what creates mass. If we look at the mass here, you're probably looking at about 30 to 35% of the dwelling just being roof alone. If we go to the last slide, please. Now, again, we just see another pitched roof dwelling with some gabled roofs. So the test is not whether somebody likes how a house looks on the street. The test from the OP and the zoning bylaw and compatibility deals with the impact. The impact of a dwelling that is only requesting a 3rd floor for a front portion of the dwelling and is compliant fully at the rear, both on both sides to the east and the west, as well as the east portion of the front, is negligible, in my opinion. And from a planning perspective, it meets all of the tests required for passing of a minor variance. And I'm very happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Okay. Questions? Any question? If not, there's no question. I'd like to have a motion, please. Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair. In reviewing the staff report and the letter from the councillor and listening to the comments from the residents, I am swayed that this is not minor and that I will therefore move to not approve this application. Thank you.
So we have a motion to refuse the application. Second. Ms. Atarodi, second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, there's 2 opposing and 2 refusals. I heard the explanation of the agent and concentrating on a fact that the 3-story applies to only a portion of the building. However, that is the portion that was the basic of this discussion, that is creating the 3-story, whether it's 25% of the property or 50%, it is considered as 3-story, and I go along with the motion to refuse the application. So, sir, your application is refused.
Thank you for your time.
Item 17, 167 Glen Park Avenue. 167 Glen Park Avenue, and we have here the agent only registered here with the owners. Cynthia Henderson, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we have you registered here. First of all, could you give us your name and address, please?
Okay, my name is Cynthia Henderson, and I'm from the architecture firm Culver and Henderson Building Design, Inc.
Okay.
And the address?
The address, yes, please.
216 Rose Park Drive, Toronto.
Thank you. Now, we have you registered here and 2 more speakers registered with you, Elena and Michael Spiro. So, who wants to address the application?
I will address the application.
You will. Okay. All right. So, let me see what's in this. This application is for 3-story rear elevator. Oh, yeah. Rear elevator addition. Staff report indicated that the applicant indicates a revision to number 5 and to develop.
Yes.
Now, since there is changes, I would like you to make a small presentation and cover the changes you'd like to make.
Okay. Do you want me to present the documents or can I describe it?
Well, do what you have 5 minutes. Do whatever you wish to
Okay.
to explain us the merit of the application along with the changes you're making, and then the members will make a decision.
Okay. The application is to add an elevator that will go from the basement, main, 2nd floor. And that brings us to a dwelling called 3 levels. But that's where we're going to have the elevator at the rear of the house. And that elevator is going to accommodate the owner who has a health problem. So he's going to be able to use this elevator from his master bedroom. And so we also incorporated a balcony from the master bedroom, which was originally going to be 13.7 square meters, but we reduced it to 9 square meters. And we have a new deck on the main floor, which is also 9 square meters. And that was reduced from the original application of 13 square meters. So that is really the extent of the application.
Okay, so just going back on the changes you're making is what? Variance number 5, you're changing it from 1375 to what? To 1361?
9 square meters. 9 square meters.
Sorry?
9 square
9.
meters.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. 9. Okay. Any other change?
And the other balcony was the main floor, and it was changed from 13.61 square meters to 9 square meters.
Okay. And that is per site plan. Okay. And there is a, okay, we have, just to mention, we have 2 letters of support, and I'll let the members ask questions. Any question? Do I see Mr. Klassen, your hand was a little bit so off. Okay, I see it now. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just a quick clarification. Variance number 1, that's just triggered because the elevator is coming from the basement. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, thank you.
Any other question? Okay. So if there is no questions, can I have a motion, please? And specify the changes that you want in the application. Ms. Atarodig, please go ahead.
Jillian, I think, was first.
Did you?
No? Okay.
She said no.
It's okay. You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay.
Let me see the hands. Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay, to you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes. Variance number 5 to be read that the proposed area of each platform at or above the second story is 9 square meter and 9 square meter. So both those numbers modified to 9 square meter as per applicant request. And also would like to tie it to the staff recommendation that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with site plan west and west side and north elevation drawing submitted to the committee, attachment number 1, 2, and 3, and also subjected to urban forestry.
Okay. Second, Ms. Skind, all in favor? Okay. Your application is unanimously approved, subject to those changes you made and subject to forestry. Okay?
Thank you very much, committee. Thank you.
Item number 18, which is 30 FAIRHOLME Avenue. And here we have 1 registered speaker, who is the agent, Sarah Efrah. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, Sarah Ifrah from Sarah Ifrah Architect, Inc. It's 75 Dufflaw Road, 201A, like Apple, M6A, 2W4.
Okay, thank you. So we have here this, I know you're the only one there, but we still, because of the application, we may need a presentation. So we have here
Yes.
3-story, 18 variances, and staff saying to refuse number 7 for 3-story, and transportation has no objection. And we have 1 letter of support from 28 FAIRHOLME, which is next door. So please go ahead, make your presentation, and I'll give you the 5 minutes.
Okay, so I would want to be clear that the staff report says if you do choose to approve, that you should do it in keeping with the attachment. So it's not an outright asking you to refuse. So I also do have a letter of support that I only was able to send in this morning from the neighbor at number 32 FAIRHOLME. So both neighbors on both sides are supportive. So I would ask if you could put up on the screen the supporting document from March 8th. It will show 4 site plans and 4 elevations. Okay, so in terms of the variances that I think might be considered something in question in terms of are they minor or are they major, would be 1, the 3rd story, and 2, the possible coverage number. So both of those I would venture, in my opinion, to say that in terms of the official plan and the intent of the bylaw, they are minor in nature. If you look at the front elevation of the house, you actually don't see that there's a third story there. It also looks very similar to the other three houses to the left-hand side of the drawing. To the farthest left are two houses at 50 and 52 Fairholme. And again, these are homes I've done. I'm not bringing in any other homes that anybody else has done. So those two were both built and approved or approved by Committee of Adjustment and built in the last couple of years. The one then, if we take one step to the right, was approved last week by the Committee of Adjustment. Again, you can see they're all very similar in plan, very similar in terms of the look on the outside, trying to maintain, you know, windows not being on the front, with the exception of number 50. They had windows on the front. That was part of the architectural style. Although in terms of their plans and their coverages, they are very similar. I would say the one thing that bolsters my argument for the slightly higher coverage than the rest of them is that I've actually got side yard setbacks of 1.52 on both sides, whereas all the other approvals I've actually had a 4 and a 5, or a 1.5 and a 1.2. Throughout North York, and again, I say this only from my experience, not using precedent, a 1.2 meter side yard setback on a 50-foot lot is very common. So the idea that we spoke with planning, we've been through exactly how this works. We made sure our side yards have a little extra space compared with everything else, and that the footprint itself is very much in keeping with the other homes that have been built on that street specifically, but in the neighborhood as well. I think that's what brought the staff report, you know, from an outright please refuse variance, you know, X, to if you choose to approve, to keep it in keeping with the drawings that were attached, because I did have a lot of discussions with them. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I kind of knew that those would be the two elephants in the room, but if there are other questions, I'm more than happy to go through anything else that anybody would like some clarification on.
Thank you. Any questions? I'm sorry, the screens are a little bit dark. I want to see if anybody has a hand on. No, nobody. Okay. So I don't see well. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. Well, if not,
Mr. Chair, yeah, no, I do have a question.
okay,
I'm just curious, is there one variance that triggers many of the others? And I'm especially thinking of the third story.
So in terms of the third story is not really what triggers all the other little variances. Really, it's based on the side yards being at 1.52. Then we've got, you know, a front porch, a back porch, all these little variances that get triggered by that side yard setback that, you know, is required to be 1.8. So there are a number of them that are related to that. And I mean, in terms of the length, again, you have a length variance, but that's only to a small portion, that breakfast room at the back. The rest of the house is actually under 17 meters long. So I would say the answer to the question is yes. These other ones that are related to decks and porches and things like that do have to do with our request for the side yard variance. But I would reiterate that our side yard is greater than others that have been approved in the neighborhood. And again, I live in the neighborhood and build in the neighborhood. The 1.2 is very standard. So the 1.5 being that trigger is less impactful than the other ones.
any other question? If not, I'll ask questions. I happen to know this street very, very well. And you have the next door, 28, and the other next door, 32. Both of them are signing for it. This section of Fairholme happened to be close to Bathurst, and which really the bylaws were a little bit relaxed, close to Bathurst, and we did approve some 3-stories. So I personally have no problem with the 3-story there, and I'll see what other members are saying. If you need, I need a motion.
I think Jillian.
I'm still waiting, huh? Oh, you see, your hand on the left side is covered by some green stuff there. We don't see it. If you put your right hand,
I'll raise I'll raise this hand.
much better.
Or just both.
Thank you. Yeah, there is a screen behind it, and we don't see it. Thank you, Julia. Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I want to move to approve this proposal in accordance with the recommendation from the staff report that it be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and east side elevation drawings submitted to this committee and attached to the staff report. It does seem from the comments from the chair and as well from the applicant that this does in fact conform with the neighborhood, fits into the neighborhood, and seems desirable for the appropriate development of land and buildings in that neighborhood. While the third floor may not be, I guess it's between minor and major, minor plus, but the other ones really don't seem particularly significant. And because of that, I move to approve this.
Thank you. And your conditions are to attach to the plan as they said, right?
Correct.
Thank you. Second?
Mr. Chair, there's also
forestry.
Urban forestry.
Yes, yes. I think she mentioned it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Can I have a second, please? Mr. Bartolo, second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, we have 2 opposing and 2 for. So they want me to work today. Okay, so based on the comments I made and based on what Ms. Siskind mentioned, I join the motion to approve the application subject to those conditions, which is to attach to the site plan an east and west elevation and forestry. Okay, so your application is approved subject to those conditions.
Thank you very much. I'll see you this afternoon.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I know the street very well. Okay, now item number 18, which is 36 Heather Street. And here we have the agent who is Gina Shafrik. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, we've been advised that Mr. Franco Romano will be representing this application.
Okay, Mr. Romano, are you there?
Sir, I am here, but I am not here for this item. I am here for item number 20. Is that the item that was just called?
No, we're on item 19.
Yeah, I'm not here for item 19. Sorry,
No.
I'm here for item number 20.
Thank you for that clarification. We still need Gina Shafrik. Are you there?
Yes, I am, and currently unmuted. Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
can you please state your name and address?
My name is Gina Shafrick from These Architects, Inc., 43 Lorimer Street in Fine Hill.
Okay, now included with that request, we have Thomas Pinkham and Grain McLean. So who wants to speak for the application?
I will be speaking for the application.
You'll be addressing it. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other people registered. So we need you to make a presentation as to the merit of your application, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. We would like to summarize our application with the supporting material dated March 25th on file. Thank you. So in slide number 2 here, the application before committee is, in our opinion, a modest and thoughtful rear addition of 69.3 square meters, as noted on the right side on this slide. You can go ahead to the next slide. You can move. Thank you. We have an update on this slide 3. The owners have consulted with their neighbors as soon as letters went out and currently have support from a total of 4 neighbors, 3 of which directly abut their property to the south on Glengrove Avenue, and a late add support letter on Glenview Avenue to the north, which may not be on file. Only one neighbor on Glengrove was not approached as they had moved out due to a sale and future major renovation. I believe one of their neighbors supporting is planned to speak today in lieu of a letter. You can move ahead to slide number 4. The FSI minor variance of 0.821 includes the basement area due to the technicality here of its elevation being closer to established grade by a mere 8 inches. The FSI is 0.589 with basement excluded, and this complies with the report from the planning department. Next slide, please. Thank you. The building setback from the north side lot line keeps in line with the legally existing side lot line of the house, which is 0.21 meters on the west side of the addition, at the addition, excuse me. Also, this north face of the addition is code compliant with no windows. You can move to the next slide, please. Front yard parking shows the location of the parking space on the private drive and in front of the house as the only location possible. We will comply with the transportation report conditions of parking space size and soft landscaping required at the top of the driveway. Next slide, please. This slide shows the new proposed platform, reconstructed smaller than the current deck area today, and only 4 risers above grade, with side privacy screens at 1.8 meters high. You can move ahead 2 more slides to slide 9. Thank you. Extensive sun studies were done. And these are showing some of these sun studies showing no adverse effects here during various dates and times during the seasons. You can move back to slide number 7. Or sorry, 8. Yeah, perfect. The summary. Thank you. We feel, in summary, our proposal is minor in nature and it's keeping with other development in the neighborhood. It meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and we hope it meets with your approval. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Now we, yeah. So you mentioned the FSI. The FSI, there is a condition from the staff that it's supposed to be 0.609, excluding the basement floor. Is that what you meant?
Yes, correct. We are under that.
Okay,
at 0.8589.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Okay. So, well, let's see who's here. We have Rachel Silbert. Are you there? Rachel Silbert.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Again, when you're in your list here, we have Stanley, Gokelmas, Marjorie, and who wants to speak for the application?
I will speak for the application.
You want
and if you
want address? Okay, please go ahead. Tell us what's
yeah. And I'm going to try to keep this quite brief. I know there's a number of speakers. I'm hoping that that what I'm going to say will actually cover off most of the speakers, since everyone seems to be aligned on this.
We would
wondering
appreciate
if you
that,
could.
yeah. We would appreciate if you cover. Go ahead.
I will keep it very concise, and I'll try not to repeat what others have pointed out earlier today. So are you able to bring up on the screen the presentation that we sent in yesterday?
Could you please specify which screen would you like us to put on?
Oh, sorry, there's a PDF that was sent through yesterday to Kelly and to the committee. It's a PDF that was sent through yesterday. If we don't have it, that's fine. I can proceed anyhow.
Yeah, proceed in the meantime, okay?
Sure. One thing I'd just like to clarify to begin with, there seems to be a disagreement here because none of the neighbors on the street were consulted. And in fact, the neighbors that offered their letters of support, while they abut the lot, they are not at all impacted in any way via sight lines and they're not affected by the massing in any way. However, all of the other neighbors on the block and 2 neighbors across the street and 2 neighbors behind the house object, and I believe are on the call today. All of these people believe that this is not in keeping with the development, with the existing development in the neighborhood, and would not be an appropriate development for this street. We believe that the application fails the 4-part test for the following reasons. The first is that the variances are not minor. While the applicant states that the FSI is superficially inflated because the FSI includes the basement because of the grading of the street, I would note that all of the houses on the street are subject to have the same grading and would be subject to the same bylaw. And for this reason, you have none of the houses in the entire block that extend this far back. And in fact, I wish my presentation was up here because we have pictures that demonstrate that from all the way down the block, this addition would be a huge obstruction and does not respect the already limited green space available to the residents on the lot. Also, if you can see, which you can't, but if you could see that there's a very natural break line of all of the homes along the street. And this addition extends far beyond the natural break line, all the way into the middle of the backyard. Again, these are all homes in this particular quadrant. These are all relatively large homes that are built on relatively small lots. So there's already limited green space available to all of the residents of the block. And what this does is really, it does not respect the urban fabric of the neighborhood because it actually intrudes on all of the neighbors on the entire streets enjoyment of their green space and enjoyment of their property. The other thing that I would note is that the application would set a concerning precedent, because if all of the homes were allowed to expand using a 0.82 FSI, you would have virtually no backyards on the entire street. It would be tiny little green patches of green with homes that extended all the way through the back, and this would set a dangerous precedent for the neighborhood.
Okay.
That is really the crux of what we're trying to convey here, which is really that this development is not appropriate. The variances are not at all minor, particularly if these variances were granted to all of the neighbors as well. it would completely destroy the urban fabric of the street. And that this application does not maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan.
Okay, thank you. Since you're speaking for more people, I just want to understand your objection to number 1 first is the FSI, which is going from 0.35 to 0.821. Do you understand?
Correct.
Do you understand that portion of it is included in the basement? They have only.
Yes, and
you understand that. Okay, I just want to make sure.
we do understand that, and I think our point is that this isn't a technicality to the people on the street.
Okay, I just want to make sure you understand it. And
yes, understood.
Okay, and for number 4, you're of the platform going from 4 to 21. You said you have problem with that, right?
Pardon?
The platform from 4 square meters to 21 square meters. You're okay with that?
No, we're not okay with any of it.
Okay,
we believe it all to be completely inappropriate for this neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
Ms. Silber, your remarks, are they with respect to this application, do they also reflect the views of Mr. Eric Ellers as well from 35 Heather Street?
Yes, we've all convened in the interest of time to try to make our arguments as succinct as possible.
Okay, thank you very much. Could we just have the other addresses that you are representing today, please?
Sure. I am representing 38, 40, 42, 44, 45 on Heather Street, 35, 37, and then on Glen Castle, 7 and 9.
Okay. Okay, regardless of the numbers you mentioned, we still have to see if somebody is here. They have the right to speak. So who's
absolutely
okay? The next one I have here is Wendy Sheehan. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, staff have been unsuccessful at attempting to contact Wendy Sheehan.
Unsuccessful. Okay. Next is Max Goranson. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Could you please?
Yes, I'm here.
Could you please state your name and address?
Yeah, Max Goranson, 9 Glen Castle Street.
Okay, so you heard what Ms. Shafrik mentioned. If you agree with her, if you have something different, for us there is no need repeating the same thing. Unless you have something different, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I have nothing new to add. I just want to say that I echo everything that Ms. Silber said when she was speaking, and that's it for me. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. So you echo her thing. Now, next is Eric Ellers. Ms. Shafrik says she represent him. He's not there.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Mr. Eric Ellers advised staff that Ms. Silber.
Mr. Represent him. Thank you. Okay. The next is Karen Woodside. Karen Woodside, are you there? She's there. Okay.
I am there.
Okay. Can you please say your name and address, please?
Karen Woodside, 37 Heather Street.
Thank you.
Toronto M4R 1Y4. I agree with Rachel completely, so as to save time, there's no point except
Thank
that
you.
I am.
We appreciate that. So you echoed her. You okay? And next is Malcolm Rutherford.
You have Malcolm here.
I'm sorry?
Yes, you have Malcolm here.
Okay, can you please state your name and address?
My name is Malcolm Rutherford. My address is 80 Glengrove Avenue West, and I'm here to support the application for the addition.
Sorry, you're supporting the application? Okay.
That's right. I'm supporting the application.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and that's all you want to say? Hold a second. Any question to this gentleman who's the
No,
application? No?
So I can provide some additional information. I just wanted to make sure that
Okay, well, the
item was addressed.
well, you have the right to say what you want to say. We have 5 minutes, but you say
Okay.
you're supporting the application. You want to speak to it? You want to speak to it?
Yes, I'll speak to them. 80 Glen Grove Avenue West.
Okay.
Which is located south of 36 Heather. If you look at the property map itself, you'll notice that we're the third house in from Heather Street. Our properties abut each other by the backyards, and we share a fence across the entire width of my backyard. And based how these houses are situated, the back of our house faces north, 36 Heather faces west. We can see completely our houses and backyards from each other's properties. And speaking today to provide my full support of the application to build the rear addition, I feel that the changes are minor within the bounds and the constructed of the neighborhood itself, and similar to some of the additions that we've seen, similar to 38 Heather Street, which I can see from my property as well. So if there's any questions from the committee based on my support here, I'd be happy to answer them or address them.
Thank you. Any question to the speaker? No? Okay, so the last one we have is Gary Begg. Are you there? Gary Begg?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Could you please state your name and address?
Yes, Gary Begg, 40 Heather Street, Toronto, Ontario, M4R, 1Y5.
Okay.
And I'm opposed to the
application.
I'm opposed to the application. The houses on Heather Street on the west side were all built between 1924 and 28. They all present the same elevation at the rear. This proposal would put up a 24-foot high building wall extending far into the backyard. It will certainly affect my enjoyment of my backyard. So I'm opposed to it. I agree with the previous statements, especially by Rachel. Okay. And I don't think this is an appropriate proposal for our neighborhood. And I hope that the committee will see its way clear to reject this proposal.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to do some. Thanks. Any question for this gentleman? Okay, I'm going to do something here a little bit unorthodox here. Miss Silbert, Rachel Silbert, you. Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned your objection thing, and I forgot to ask the staff if the members if they have any question. And since you're representing all of them, and I forgot to ask you, I'm asking them now. Any question to this speaker who was opposing the application? Her name is Rachel Silver. No questions. Okay. Now we get back.
One thing I would just one thing I would add is that it really would be helpful if staff could get some of the pictures that I submitted up on the screen, because you can truly.
Unfortunately, you submitted yesterday and they're not on the system. So we got your.
It's not today. It was yesterday, but that's okay. It's fine. I just want to really demonstrate the impact.
So we don't have it. So you made a very good presentation. Let's see what the applicant has to say. Okay.
Sure.
Gina Shafrik.
Yes, hello, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so could you please address those concerns? As you heard, all the neighbors are opposing the application. So tell us, please, what's your take on it?
Yes, we'd like to reiterate that the owners, our clients, had consulted with their neighbors. So that was simply untrue. They did consult with all their neighbors, their direct neighbors. They have 4 supportive neighbors. 3 are letters, and 1, as you heard today, spoke. 3 of those supportive neighbors have direct view of this property to the south on Glen Grove along their property line. And they are all in support. We do maintain that the FSI is slightly larger, but it is existing. Its existing FSI is currently 0.422, so we were not able to comply as it's already 0.422, excuse me. The comment made in reference to the wall being 42 feet high is simply incorrect. There's no minor variance here for height. We are within compliance for height and building depth as well. We are in full compliance of building depth. So there are no minor variances, which were points made by the opposition.
That's it. Now we'll see if the members have any question.
Yes.
Ms. Siskind. Go ahead.
Thank you. The neighbors raised, and Mrs. Silbert in particular, raised the issue of the sight line from the backyards of some of the neighbors down the block, that they will see a large wall halfway through the yard. Now, I don't see that as one of the variances requested. Maybe I don't understand where it's listed, but can you comment on that allegation that the wall is going to be intruding sort of halfway the length of the garden?
Yes, Ms. Siskind, absolutely. The extension of the rear addition is to the main wall is 10 feet, and it complies with our building depth. It is not a minor variance we are requesting here. It does not go halfway to the back of the property line. We are in compliance with our rear setbacks, the building depth. So it's simply incorrect to state that. I think the point perhaps she was trying to make is that all the houses don't have any rear additions. There wasn't any new development made north of the subject property. And that is their opposition. It is their first development made in this row of houses. And I believe that is why they are opposed. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. It does.
Any other question? Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you confirm the FSI of the basement, and especially as the ratio relates to the staff report requesting that it shall be no greater than 0.609 times the lot area?
Sure. Yes, the staff planning report stated that should you choose to approve the application, that they would recommend the following condition. And that was that with the exclusion of this basement floor area, it would be no greater than 0.60 times the area of the lot. And we did confirm that our current proposal is 0.589 times area of the lot with that exclusion. So I believe we comply with that condition based on staff planning.
Perfect. Thank you.
If there is no more question, can I have a motion, please? Ms. Siskind?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to move to approve this application. We have heard the concerns of the neighbors, and I do take that into consideration. I will also add, as part of my motion, the condition that is included in the staff report, just to ensure that the floor space index of the dwelling, excluding the basement floor, shall be no greater than 0.609 times the area of the lot, and to ensure that this addition complies with any requirements of the forestry department. Thank you.
Thank you. Second?
So, through you, Mr. Chair, is it, does this application have any forest?
We're in the
Sorry.
middle. We're in the middle of motion.
I know, but I think there's no forestry. There's a transportation condition, if
Yeah.
I'm right.
Yeah.
If
You mentioning the transportation? Yes, there is a transportation report.
I want to forward a friendly amendment for transportation condition to be attached.
Thank you.
If Julie accept it.
No, it's not too late. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Mrs. Kind.
Then if it's accepted, I'll second it.
Thank you. Mrs. Kind, in addition to the staff report, there is a condition of the transportation. So you're okay with that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, I understood that they said it was in keeping, but yes, I will be happy to accept.
Yeah, they said no objection, just condition.
Ms. West.
Thank you.
Yes.
So,
I'll second it.
motion submitted by Ms. Siskind and seconded by Ms. Atarodi. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, your application is approved unanimously, subject on those conditions. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, committee members. Have a nice day.
(118) Calvington Drive, which is application number 20. And we have here just one registered agent who is now representing Victor and Core, who is Mr. Franco Romano. Are you there?
I'm here, sir. Thank you kindly.
I know you haven't moved yet, but we still need you to pay your name and address.
Franco Romano, 2095 Autumn Breeze Drive South in Port Credit, Ontario.
Thank you. We have here this new dwelling. Staff report has a lot coverage remaining, condition, and 5 letters of support. As members, do we need a presentation here? No? If not, Mr. Romano, I don't see any hands here for presentation. Do you still need to say something, or we just move to the committee for decision?
I do have one item, sir, just for point of clarification.
Okay.
And that is in the staff recommendation, the wording of that recommendation.
Okay.
I think there's a bit of a typo reference in there.
Okay.
Because the recommendation is that the lot coverage of the dwelling be limited to less than 36.14%.
Right.
And if you look at the comments of the staff report, says that staff recommend that the lot coverage for the dwelling be limited to no more than 36.14%. So I respectfully ask that the recommendation and the condition that get, should the committee find approval, it should read the lot coverage of the dwelling be limited to no more than 36.14%, and the remaining 8.59% of the lot coverage be allocated towards the existing rear detached garage.
That's exactly what the condition I have here. It said lot
Okay.
coverage will be limited to less than 36.14, and the remaining 8.59 of the lot coverage be allocated towards the existing rear detached garage. That's exactly what the condition says.
Well, sir, the way the wording is there, it would mean that the dwelling would have to be smaller than what it is today proposed, because it says that the lot coverage of the dwelling be limited to less than 36.14%, and the dwelling that's proposed is actually 36.14%.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think the wording has to say the lot coverage of the dwelling be limited to no more than 36.14%.
Yeah, the word "to less" is the problem. Yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it achieves the same intent. I just want to be clear on that. And that's, this is consistent with the neighborhood where we have garages that are at 10%, 9%, 11%, and the dwellings. Now, when you tack on the dwelling plus the garage, you get the larger lot coverage. So
That's just
I'm happy to answer any questions other than that.
just the way it's worded, and any other comment?
No, I'm happy to answer any questions. I think this is a fairly straightforward application for this neighborhood.
I'm back to members. Any question? If not, can I have a motion, please? I don't see any. Oh, Mr. Bartolo, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm in agreement that this is relatively straightforward and is minor in nature. Therefore, I will put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the following condition: that the lot coverage for the dwelling be limited to no more than 36.14%, and the remaining 8.59% be allocated for the proposed rear detached shed.
Thank you. There's no conditions. Second? Ms. Attarodi, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. Mr. Romano, your application is unanimously approved, subject to that condition, which is modified to no more than 36%. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you kindly. Appreciate it.
Okay. Item 21, which is 5 Dinan Street, variance number 21. And we have the agent here, who is Ali Shakiri. Mr. Shakiri, are you there? Hello?
Yes, sir. Ali Shakiri.
Okay, can you
Ali
please?
Shakiri,
Yeah, can you please?
326 Shepherd Avenue.
Thank you. All right. So we have one more person here listed, therefore we need the presentation. I'll give you your 5 minutes here. Go ahead, please.
Yes, if I can have my supporting material shown. So we have asked for a flat roof variance on this house that will help us to keep the mass of the building lower than what it could be with a slope roof or a mansard roof as of right. What we have demonstrated here on this graph is those yellow shaded areas are the additional building mass that we're forced to add if we were to comply with the building height of 10 meters, which is as of right for a flat roof or a slope roof. So we are basically asking for that flat roof variance in order to keep the height of the building down, and also eliminate those long eaves trough all around the building. All are very massively creating shadows on surrounding properties, and as a result of that variance, this house is going to be less massive. Regarding the coverage variance we're asking here, a big portion of that is going towards the cabana that we're proposing into the backyard. So while the coverage of the building is slightly in excess of 30%, but most of that 4.8% is basically redeemed on a cabana in the backyard that is very short, and it has no basement. It's going to be only a slab on grade with a very short structure. If we turn to the other pages, page number 2, I have done a case study to just make sure the variances we are asking here are not setting new precedent. And this is number 3 Dinan, which is our adjacent property. It has the similar kind of side yards and the similar kind of height. If we go to the next page, that's they got a variance for the building length. If we go to the next page, please. That's number 16 on across the street. They got 35% of coverage with similar height, but that building is actually majorly taller because that 8.54 is only the wall height. The building height is 10 meters for that building. They have the similar kind of side yards. And if we turn to the other pages, I have some other precedents from the old Orchard Grove, which is the sort of the Dinan is branching off from Orchard Grove. So these other cases, if we turn pages, we can see there are variances maybe even more than 35 on some of them. But this was our case study to make sure we're not setting new precedent. I'd be more than glad to answer any question. And I have no further comments.
Thank you. We'll get you back when we hear from the other party. We have here Olga Wolf. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Can you please state your name and address?
Olga Wolf at number 7 Denan Street, Toronto.
Okay, please tell us what your concern is.
My concern is the height. Actually, the letter I sent in, the ones that I, don't mind, is number 4 and number 6. It's the others that I oppose. The letter said 5 and 6. I meant 4 and 6.
Yes, we have your letter, but I need you to state what your problem is. Okay?
I know. Number 1, the lot coverage is it's an additional 4.81%. And as using the cabana, there was nothing to state in your letter or variance permission that it included the cabana. Cabana is separate from the house, so it should have indicated that. As for the length of the house, it's going, the bylaw 17, they're going to 18.9. And I'm more conversant in feet because that's what I grew up in and changed to meters, 20 years ago. So that's an additional 6 feet or 1.9 length of the building. We are a bungalow, which is 1,400 square feet. And the height, also they're requesting more, but if you look at the blueprint of number 3, it's actually less than what they're, it should be a little lower than number 3, if you're comparing the blueprints, as I said. And that setback for the north side, which would be facing our kitchen, they're requesting to come a foot closer to our property, or what do they call, 0.3, which is, to me, is a foot. And I just overshadows my house, the sunlight. You come out, it's like you're looking at a wall, a straight wall. I mean, till now we've had sunlight and light coming in. Now there will be very little. It stretches way past our property line, but variances, of course, have been updated, and these variances should have been for 2 lots, not for 1 lot. I mean, the houses are too big for the area, but this is what the government decided. And if there's any questions, also, privacy is gone in our backyard, on our deck. If there's a window put in opposite our kitchen, privacy's gone better too, because all you're looking at is a wall. If there's a window across, well, you can wave at each other. And basically loss of enjoyment. It's overshadowing the house. The overlook is, it's overpowering. And that we're talking about the south side of my house, which would be the north side of number 5. And are there any questions?
Are you finished? Okay, thank you. We didn't want to interrupt you. Any questions for the speaker? No, we have no questions for you. So we get Mr. Shakuri. Could you come back, please?
Yes, sir. Regarding the coverage, indeed, we have included that into our calculations. So the coverage we are asking is 34.81%, including that cabana. If I have no objection if there is a condition tied to any sort of approval tying the site plan. So then basically we have to develop the land based on the drawings that is submitted here. We have, I forgot to mention on my beginning comments that we have a letter of support from several neighbors that we have submitted that Paul Fox is his original home, it's his childhood home, and now his mother has unfortunately passed away, and he's wishing to renew this house. So by renewing this house, there will be changes, and those changes, mean, with regard to the comments I hear from the neighbor, would still be the same if this house would have been a house as of right. What we're asking here is basically minor variances to the existing bylaws, but I don't think if the neighbor would be even satisfied if we put a house as of right. The window mentioned and opposite to the kitchen, I don't think if we have proposed any windows just opposite to the kitchen of number 7. Again, I don't mind if any condition is imposed that we won't put any window on the north side just opposite to the neighbor's window. I don't know if that's technically possible or not, but just saying we didn't do that. And if there is something like that, we don't mind changing it. And the shadows, as I explained, thanks to the variance we are asking for the building height, the shadow of this building is going to be majorly less than a house with a conventional mansard roof as of right, similar to many other developments in the area, similar to number 16, for example, that's across the street, and that would be looking majorly bigger than this house. And basically, I think we have tried our best. Yes, we're asking some variances that are well precedented in the area, and at the same time, we have tried our best to keep the building mass down and make it as friendly as possible to the neighborhood. If there is any question, I'd be more than glad to answer.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, if there is no questions, can I have a motion, please?
I just have a last question. How much is the lot coverage that has been by Cabana regarding the variance number?
Is 3.3%. So basically, the coverage of this building without that cabana is going to be less than 32%.
Okay. Any other question? Can I have a motion then, please? I don't see any hand yet. Okay, Mr. Klassen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the comments from the people that we heard from, and on balance, this strikes me as minor. This strikes me as in keeping with the 4 tests. So I will move to approve this application, but I will make it subject to the site plan that was submitted with this application and on so that we can be sure that it will be built as planned. Thank you.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Siskind, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to that condition to attach to the site plan, okay?
Thank you very much.
Item number 22, which is 270 Horsham Avenue, application number 22. And we have here one person registered who is the owner. Anarita Dasa.
Yes.
You call yourself
Speaking.
Rita, right? Okay, so please go ahead.
Rita.
Yeah, tell us your name.
My name's Rita Dasa. and I'm from 270 Horsham Avenue in North York, M2R1G4.
Perfect. Okay, just a second, please. There is here this is for a pool and a cabana. Pool
Yes, it's a patio
and
cover.
a cabana, right. So one variance transport. So the staff report, they have a condition. Councillor supports the staff condition and one letter of support signed by 8 neighbors. Do we need a presentation? No? Okay. Okay, Miss Dasa, we don't need we don't need the presentation. Do you want to say something before we go to the decision?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
You're okay. All right. So
Yes.
can I have do you have any questions or motion? Can I have a motion, please? Yeah.
Yes.
Miss Sankar? Miss
Yes.
Sankar.
Yes. Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application, which one staff recommendation as a condition that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with site plan, drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment, attachment number 1 to their report. And that's it.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Siskin, all in favor? Okay, I don't see that. Okay, now I see all the hands. Thank you. Okay, your application is approved unanimously, subject to that condition, okay?
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Okay, item number 23, which is he's asking, yeah, which is asking 17, oh, that's 170, that's deferred, yeah. That was deferred. Okay, so we have finished the morning session, and now we're going to stop. I guess we have 10 minutes for lunch.